Are you a music maker wanting to know how to level up your background vocals and get that professional BGV sound you're used to hearing in some of your favorite records that sound something like this?
'Cause when you get that feeling, like nothing's ever gonna bring you down, and all your rooms are healing.
In this video, I'm going to give you the 3 must-dos when producing background vocals. And the best part is you're going to walk away at the end of this with tangible techniques to immediately start bringing into your own music. Well, if you're new to the channel, thanks so much for stopping by. My name's Christian Hale. I'm a producer-songwriter right here in Nashville, Tennessee. My music's been streamed a whole bunch of times, gone viral on social media, and has been licensed by many of the world's leading brands and networks for TV and film licensing. I created this channel to help you make better music and make more money from your music. As we get into this video, I do have a free gift I want to give you. It's my vocal mixing cheat sheet, so definitely grab that to take today's material and go even deeper. Without any further ado, let's get into it and talk about the 3 must-dos when producing background vocals. Must-do move number 1 is to arrange your BGVs well, and I'm going to show you some of my favorite techniques that I like to use when building background vocal arrangements. So one of my favorite techniques that I use quite a bit in this session is to double every single layer of background vocals. Not just do one take of a part down the middle, but actually do a left and right track separate of the same part. If you just scan the session right here, you can see that I've done this. Like, this is one part layered left, right. This is one part layered left, right. This is one part layered left, right. Listen to this. So here's these 2 tracks that are a double.
When you get that feeling,
One part, but 2 separate takes. Same thing with this right here, these 2.
when you get that feeling,
Same with these 2 right here.
when you get that feeling.
Yeah, and I think what that does is it just creates a little bit more width, depth, and dimension to your mix, makes it sound a little bit more interesting instead of having your vocals fighting for that precious space right up the middle of your mix. One of the biggest things that I always like to do when producing background vocals is fight for more interesting background vocal parts, more interesting harmony layers, and not the stock church camp obvious harmonies. I think that we actually did a pretty good job of that in this song. Let me go ahead and solo up the background vocals for you so you can hear some of the interesting parts and layers happening through the chorus.
'Cause when you get that feeling, like nothing's
Weird
ever
rubs.
gonna bring you down, and all your rooms are healing. It's all you want when you get that feeling. It's all you want when you get that feeling.
Yeah, so what I like about that is it's this cool combination of some more obvious, like the things your ear naturally goes to harmonies, but there's also some weird rubby harmonies. I think that the woes that her ad-libs do with this stack right here are some really good examples of that. Listen to the rubs and borderline dissonance happening here.
Like nothing's ever gonna bring you down, and all your rooms are healing. It's all.
Yeah, I feel like the top music in the world does this really well. Like, if you go get your hands on some of the top pop records out there and are able to solo up some of the vocal stems, they do this really, really well. And I feel like going for the less obvious church camp, perfectly locked at all times 3-part harmony is one of the big differentiators I hear between amateur productions. And I think about some of my earlier years producing music. I think that when I listen back to some of that early work, I went for the obvious, always running at all times, like perfectly locked, boom, 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 with the melody, high harmony, low harmony melody. And I feel like as I've matured as a producer and as I've gotten better, going for the less obvious, more dissonant, rubby sort of parts, or a technique that I feel like has actually helped me level up my music and make it sound better. One way that can actually help you create more interesting harmonies is to do droning notes quite a bit. We did that here. So if you take a listen, we have the melody soloed up and this left and right double soloed up right here.
'Cause when you get that feeling,
But this layer right here is just a drone that stays on ba-da-da-da-da-da, never moves off of it. It could have moved and followed the melody, but it didn't. It drones, sounds like this.
'cause when you get that feeling,
Yeah, and she just does that little run at the end. I feel like adding those little drone moments are ways just again to help your vocals sound a little bit more interesting, sound a little bit more professional. Another technique that I really like to do when arranging background vocals is to emphasize key words. We did that a little bit with the O's that I showed you a minute ago, but there's another moment that pops up over here in verse 2 that I think exemplifies this really well. Let me roll it for you so you can hear what I'm talking about.
Wish I could hold back, but the moment's got a hold of me. We're dancing on the roof and laughing uncontrollably.
Ow.
Being with you is all adrenaline and dopamine. You and me, yeah, you and me, we got
So it really is power of addition by subtraction. Didn't have any background vocals rolling for the first half of the verse. Again, would have been really easy to just like find a harmony to let it run all the way through, but I think you get a lot more impact by having no harmonies, no background vocals going on, and then added a left and right doubles of those takes, brought it in just to emphasize the key words. So those are some of my favorite techniques that I use all the time when building my background vocal arrangements. Again, with the goal to make things sound more interesting, more custom, less stock, more obvious, less church camp. Church camp's cool, but I don't want that in my production showing up every single day. And if that's cool, give this video a like, subscribe, drop me a comment down below. All the things you already know what to do. But that is BGV essential move number 1, arrange them well. Background vocal must do number 2 is to edit them well. You know, when I'm working with a younger producer in more of a mentoring role or giving song feedback, one of the things I hear a lot in more amateur productions is a lot of noise and crap left in the vocal tracks and especially the background vocal tracks. And that noise, if it's not intentional, can be a distraction and can just show a lack of attention to detail that is borderline never present in really high quality, high caliber production. So if you just scan the session right here, you see that on my background vocal tracks, we have really tight fades into every single word. So you pretty much always, again, there's exceptions to every rule, but for the most part, all of this crap that you see right here, which is just talking in the room, mouth click, hiss, like let's see what all this is.
when you get that.
This idiot counting 1, 2, 3. We don't want that in the track. You want to get rid of all of that and fade really tight into the word. So that's like, you know, like doing your reps in the gym, not sexy background editing, not tuning, time correction. This is just like foundational. Get rid of all that crap. And you can see I've done that all the way through the arrangement here. So the only thing showing up in the background vocals are the words themselves. And when you play it, you get a really tight, clean, controlled sound like this.
When you get that feeling,
No distractions.
like nothing's ever gonna bring you down.
Another thing I'll do in the editing phase sometimes is eliminate breaths and or consonants. You know, in the case of this song, I eliminated the breaths into the word. Here, listen to this. So there was a breath, I edited it out.
When you get that.
Got rid of all of that and just did a clean in. I would say for the most part, modern pop music, I'll eliminate breaths like 80% of the time in background vocals. Your ear really only needs to hear one breath in a stack. So if that breath is present in a lead vocal, I'll just let that be the breath. And same thing with a consonant. You know, if your consonants are perfectly in time, I'll let them hang out. But there's times where if the consonant is really present and prevalent in the lead vocal, I'll just kill them from the background vocals. Another thing that I hear in more amateur productions is double consonants. Like if there's a T, you'll hear T in the lead vocal and then t in your stacks of BGVs. You don't want that unless you're going again for some weird art thing, whatever. But for the most part, you intentionally just want to hear a consonant one time in one place. Next big thing with editing is tuning and pitch correction. I actually have a video link down in the description below where I spend an hour deep diving on my entire vocal editing process. So go check that out down below. But the short of it is I use a combination of Melodyne and auto-tune on my background vocals. So first in the BGV chain is auto-tune set to the key of the song, but then I will also do hand tuning in Melodyne. And the thing about background vocals is they're tucked in the mix. So while you generally want to tune lead vocals to sound really natural to the ear, you can be a little more heavy-handed with your background vocals. And generally speaking, when you're doing doubles of lefts and rights, and especially modern pop music like this, you just want those things like visually to be perfectly like in lock with each other. So this is kind of where ear meets eye a little bit, but if you take a look here, so this is my double left track and double right track on the chorus. And then in the gray here is my chorus vocal track. And you can see like the notes are like very, very locked. Like everything is symmetrically like pretty much in place. Slight variance, which is just going to be the human feel of the performance. But if you listen to this, listen to how locked it sounds, but then also shows up visually on Melodyne.
When you get that feeling, like nothing's ever gonna bring you down, and all your wounds are healing.
Yeah, that lead vocal up the pipe and the left and right doubles are perfectly locked. So that's basically my pitch correction process. Auto-tune on the front of the chain, then I'll go down every single track of background vocals and make sure every little note, scoop, all of that is perfectly locked from a pitch standpoint. After cleanup and pitch correction comes time correction, and I'll go about doing time correction in 2 different ways. Again, see it in detail in that video link down in the description below. But method number 1 is sometimes just good old-fashioned dragging stuff around the grid, using my eyes of like, okay, like this note was over here, but the lead vocal guide is right here, so I need to move that over here, for instance. I'll do a little bit of that. You can also do that in Melodyne as well. I wasn't trained to do time correction on Melodyne, so I don't do it that way, but I know a lot of banging producers that do their time correction in Melodyne, so you can get great results doing pocketing in Melodyne. But the other thing I'll do, and I'm not going to go deep on it here, especially in tight pop music like this, is I'll use Revoice Pro and Vocaline. Actually, if you scan the session, like you can see that this manually right here was time corrected by hand. But then if you look and see this right here, this RVAPT means that I use Revoice Pro and the Vocaline inside Revoice to perfectly lock that in. Revoice Pro is a great tool. It can honestly lock things so much that it can sound unnatural. So that's why sometimes I'll do things by hand, sometimes do Revoice Pro, but it is a really amazing tool to have in your back pocket. But that's a little bit of an overview on must do step 2 of editing. Again, you want to get rid of all the crap, pay attention to breaths, pay attention to consonants, lock things in perfectly from a tuning and time correction standpoint, and your background vocals will start sounding much better. Background vocal must do number 3 is to mix them well. So a little bit of my workflow is to have a vocal chain set up ready to go that I actually recorded this singer straight into. So the amazing thing was I recorded a dry vocal straight into my tracks of audio right here and then pushed playback on the track and had the playback ready to go. So from the first time I ever pushed play, my background vocals sounded like 95% mixed. It was amazing. You can learn a little bit more about what I use on my background vocals in that free cheat sheet, so definitely go grab that. You can also purchase my exact vocal chain and vocal template available in 5 different DAWs over on my website, christianhale.co. You do need my plugins, but it's all here for the taking here. If you like the way these vocals sound, know that you can head over to my website and get this exactly. And if you don't want to do any of that, here's the plugins going on my background vocals here. So we have tracks that then feed this aux. So on the track level, it's pretty much the same thing on every track. We start with the auto-tune, run that through good old faithful CLA 76, into good old Pro DS, into Pro Q, just taking out some of that low end, into CLA 3A, into good old school Waves Deesser. You can get any of these Waves plugins linked below as well, into a Puigtec style EQ. That's the track level. Then it feeds this BGV aux with this crazy looking EQ. I don't know who came up with that. This idiot right here. Into CLA vocals, CLA unplugged. We love the CLA plugins for BGVs. That's really where I think they shine. Neutron Exciter boosting some of this junk right here, and Ozone Imager spreading everything above, like, what is this? 2K, just to give the BGVs a sense of width. Here's what the totally dry BGVs sound like.
When you get that feeling.
Who wants to listen to that? Not this guy. And with the mix sauce back on it, they sound like...
'Cause when you get that feeling.
Much better. You put those 3 must-do moves together of good background vocal arrangement, good background vocal editing, and really solid foolproof background vocal mixing. You got background vocals that in solo sound like this.
'Cause when you get that feeling, like nothing's ever gonna bring you down, and all your wounds are healing. It's all you want when you get that.
And in context of the track, sounds like this.
'Cause when you get that feeling.